How's it? So yes, I'm Krista, and I'm a diamond theorist, and generally I'm a dad, a husband, a curriculum writer. Yeah, and yeah. So with curriculum writing, I'm a research junkie. So today's classic YouTube drill, please like, subscribe, and share. And yeah, let's play. Hey, I've got a couple of things on my mind. Firstly, I was looking over the weekend at definitions of education. Now, this is actually kind of funny because as we get through the definitions of education, we always notice that it's about the transfer of knowledge, skills, and attitudes. But knowledge, skills, and attitudes actually avoid things like belief system. And the belief system of a society is actually imperative, and beliefs come from actually implementing skills. You should actually see this is a really funky diamond. It's actually what I call an advanced cut. Uh, and yeah, the only other place I've actually seen pictures that look like this would be in Aztec calendars, which is really cool. But yeah, not to get distracted, is okay. So on last week I started looking at the definition of education, and education by definition, yeah, we know is knowledge, skills, and attitudes. And different countries put more emphasis on um, on knowledge or skills or attitudes, and depending on let's say the learner's developmental path, we also focus more on knowledge, skills, and attitudes. But, and I'll say again, it's about relationship. It's the relationship. If you are not in a good relationship between parent and child, you can say all you want, the child's not going to learn. You can teach all you want, the child's not going to learn. We see this in general schooling. Class sizes are too big. The teacher thinks, because they're on performance appraisals and stuff, how many kids passed. But there isn't time for relationship between 40 kids, one staff member, 40 minutes every day. It's a phenomenon that kids learn. And generally, the couple of kids that come to the teacher and ask questions after class, that's where a relationship develops. Not deep relationship, platonic, fact-based, subject-based relationship. But a relationship develops. So in a homeschooling environment, you have the privilege that you can do relationship first. And the learning will happen and the teaching will happen. And people will say, no, it's accidental, but you can make it formal. You can actually sit down and say, hey, let's have a look at this. And it becomes much more, it's like my kid, he's 8 years old, and I was making coffee with a percolator, and he was observing, and the next day he comes to me and he takes the coffee out, he takes the jug, he goes and he puts the water in on the mark. He observed this. And then he walks over to grabs a chair, climbs up on the counter, pours the water, and I help him guide a little. But he's getting better now, and he's not pouring all the water through the coffee, cold water through the coffee. And then he gets the bottle and he fills up the little percolator paper, and then slots it in, closes the lid, and presses frappe. But it's relationship between me and my boy, and he doesn't have fear that I'm just going to reprimand him with regard to making coffee. And it's beautiful to see. And now we've got to go back and actually think, where did the relationship get stuffed up? And I was listening to David Martin over the weekend, and everybody, we've got to go back to something like original sin. And original sin in the Judeo-Christian belief is that you got to go to Adam and Eve, and they're in the garden, And then Eve ate a fruit, and then she gave it to Adam. Okay, now from the one perspective, Adam was there and Adam was passive, and that's the problem with men in general, is we're passive. Or people in general. I'm not one to say people are passive, and we just accept. But a couple of verses earlier here, God came down to walk with Adam. That was the ceremony that they did every day. They had a chat where God would ask him questions. How's the day? And Adam would reflect. Hey, no, it was great. Hey, I saw this stripy horse type thing, and I named it a zebra. And I saw this other thing and it looked funny, and I called it a warthog. Because that's his job. His job was name the animals. Now, naming a bunch of animals and trees and species and flowers, and that's work, eh? And all the animals have to be named. But this thing, because he had eaten of the fruit, he broke relationship. No, it broke trust. It was a request, do not eat from, or a rule, do not eat from the fruit, or you will surely die. And then, but it's immediately the relationship was broken before the reprimand about the fruit. So maybe we've got to look at it that way, that the original sin is not disobedience, but rather breaking of relationship. Because if he had come out and said, hey, I've done this wrong, it's easier to sort out the problem. Forgiveness is easier. Grace is easier. Love overrides. I fix my car and it's still slightly wrong. I still love the car, but the car's still not working right. Okay, maybe not a best example, but I think you get my gist. And then we look for another split in relationship between man and the mystical. And I found it actually in this book. It's called Ideas, and the author's name is there, Peter Watson. Ideas: A History from Fire to Freud. And I found it in the page 167. Now, it's a serious book, but on 167 we're actually talking about taxonomies and gloom, and they actually get back into the ancient Greeks. And the ancient Greeks were known as, there are two principal aspects to their legacy. One is that the Greeks were the first to truly understand that the world may be known. That if we observe the world, you can know it. That knowledge can be acquired by systematic observation, without aid from the gods. That there is an order to the world and the universe which goes beyond the myths of our ancestors. As soon as they clicked that the myths and the earth can be separated, they created the separation. But we are in nature, of nature, part of the mystical. And that's maybe what homeschooling does, is it creates this relationship between educator, educand. And so we can actually, through our beliefs, reach the mystical again, the divine, the knowing of self, the aspiration to build relationship with the divine. Build relationship with educator, build relationship with creator. And it's not about hierarchies, but it's about building relationship. And yeah, you'll see, as per the diamond, it's really, really, really hard, because relationship can't be measured as we measure time or money or ideas. A quality relationship, reflections and lessons and cutting of character and social aspects and evolutionary aspects can't be measured over time, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. But in essence, relationship, that's the beauty of homeschooling or home education, is you can build relationship you can be in guidance to your child. And I believe that is beautiful, and that is the cornerstone for our new earth. That is the diamond. It's the relationship between diamonds. And yes, it is niggled, and it does get tough, and it does shape, and it does form. But through love, trust, joy, striving for peace, respect, patience, kindness, goodness, grace again, faithfulness, we can reach that. So, set the cornerstone, build relationship, as this is the new definition for education. Because through relationship, you can transfer knowledge, skills, and attitudes. So all the textbooks are wrong. But yeah, blessings for the day. That's my take on education, is to build relationship. And yeah, set the cornerstone, make it a diamond. Welcome to our new earth.